Today we're going to talk about chipping. Now, first we have to discuss very clearly the difference between a chip and a pitch. Anyone know the difference? Oh, what is it? The height of the ball? Yeah, the trajectory, correct. So the chip shot is generally a shot you can play. It's pretty similar to putting. You're going to use it, it's a running shot. Now you can chip at 100 meters, but it doesn't look very attractive. But the chip is literally just a shot in which you're getting the ball on the ground as quickly as possible, running. There's no attempt to get the ball to stop. It's very, very safe. There's no attempt to get it to spin. It's going to come out low and it's going to run a long way. That's a chip. You can use it anywhere. You can chip from the rough. You can chip from here to this flag. It just would, it would look unique if you had a chip shot like from to this flag there. You'd be landing it in the rough, bounce, and then would run up onto the green. That would be called a chip. That is not a pitch. That is a chip. Very safe. Everyone needs to be able to do it. And for higher handicap players, it's probably the one you're going to use most. Even if you need a pitch. Well, pitching, and also the club you use for a chip, you can use anything from a 3-wood to a lob wedge for a chip. Okay? A pitch, which we'll talk about next time, because I don't want to overcomplicate things. The pitch is generally used with a sand wedge or a lob wedge. You're trying to hit the ball higher and get it to stop quicker. So then you're using trajectory and spin, whereas a pitch the chip, you're just using momentum to stop it like a putt. But a pitch, you have very different properties. The ball's coming out a lot higher and it's looking to stop in a much shorter space. So if you were to play a pitch to that shot, that same situation there, you'd be looking to land, hopefully we can land it on. There we go. So we're looking to land the ball up towards there and, almost. These are bouncy greens, huh? So a pitch is when you're using height and spin. You don't get a lot of spin on these greens because they're soil based, but it's height and spin, and a chip you running. Make sense? So we're first going to learn the chip and master that. The only reason you'd want to learn how to pitch is if there is a bunker in the way or there's a hill in the way and or the rust's too thick and you go, you know what? The chip shot just ain't going to work. I have to go right chip my way around the bunker. Isn't any fun. But you first need to know how to do it. Now, from a normal setup, like a normal full, I've got an 8-iron here, which is great for just chipping. It could be a 9-iron, could be a pitching wedge. And yes, pitching wedges are better for chipping than pitching, believe it or not. But I'll tell that story another time, why that is. But anyway, so it's a full 8-iron setup. A chip shot, we're going to have our feet very close together. The ball's still going to be in line just inside the left heel, but the right foot's going to show up there too. So now it looks like it's quite much off my right heel. The shaft is not going to be leaning straight up and down. The shaft is going to be leaning forwards. We're making no attempt to get the ball in the air. The only reason the ball is going to come up at all is because the club itself, this is my 8-iron, so it's got sort of mid 30 degrees of loft somewhere in there. It's de-lofted, the ball's back, and I'm just going to make almost a little bit of I've got a little cheating thing that's helping me out a little bit, but we'll explain about that later. All I'm doing is literally just almost having a putting stroke. It's very similar to a putting stroke. The only time people get things wrong with a chip is when they try and hit it in the air. They try and, it's a fluke. Only happens when you don't watch. As soon as they try and lift it and try and help the ball in the air, then you start getting weird strikes. The ball pops up, it can go left, it can go right, you don't have distance control, all those wonderful things that golfers will do. So our first job is going to be to get used to the feet thing. Alignment wise, they can be a little open, they can be a little, I wouldn't say closed, but they can be parallel, and parallel means this is the target line, the feet can be the same as the target line or a little bit open too. It's not too important as long as they're not closed. But then again, you can still do that with a chip, you can get away with it. Big thing is going to be ball's going to be back, handle's going to be forward. You're just trying to hit this little wee low runner. Now, before we start hitting them, we are going to set up some little stations where everyone tries a little different toy to make life easier. This is one. This is several uses, but for a start, all we're going to do is get used to, for a standard chip feel, is that address. It's going to sit, not going to sit straight up and down. That's a full swing. For a chip, we're going to have it sitting pretty much on your lead forearm. And you just keep it on your lead forearm. Very simple. But it's just an idea of getting you out of the habit. A lot of you will be doing this. Okay, so that's number one, little one we're going to use. Number two is there's a pitching wedge here and a 7-iron, and these are both tour striker irons. So you'll notice there's something a bit strange going on there. They're missing the bottom few grooves. So, if should have a little warning on it. When you put it down on the ground, it look a little strange because like half the golf club's missing, and it is. But as soon as you try and help the ball in the air at all, it will literally just run along the ground because there are no grooves down there to use. So what it will do is it'll get you into the habit of actually being comfortable with a chip shot. There you go. Because all you got to do is get this, the bottom groove, which is obviously probably a quarter of the way up of the club head, underneath the equator of the ball, and you'll get flight. So it's just a case setting up like that, and it just pops up in the air a little bit and runs out. This is the pitching wedge version of it, and here's the 7-iron version of it, same thing. You're trying to get this close to the ground for a low running shot. All right, so you can see it flights a meter or two and then it runs. Super easy. Chipping, super easy. So we're going to muck around with those two. Other one we're going to use, one of you will set up over here. If you come, actually, you'll come hop down the line. I'll show you. Come around. So this, along with this, are both super handy for showing swing plane. So obviously the club doesn't go straight back, straight through because your hands aren't here. Your hands are at a slight angle. And for chipping, similar to pitching, we want to get used to you can get used to this feeling here and then hop just off it and try and feel like you're not going to have the club whacking into here and whacking into there and all over the place. We're just trying to keep the club feeling like it's staying just outside there. And you'll see how it actually does go slightly inside the target line. And then you strike the ball and it goes slightly inside again. So just getting used to little bits of body movement, and you get comfortable, because the last thing you want to do when you're chipping is be one of those people that whip it way inside and then scoop it out that way, and there's lots of weird stuff going on. We don't want any of that. And then this is a fancy impact bag with a couple of lines going on. Now normally it shows that's where your shaft normally should be at address, and then at impact you want to have a forward shaft length. With a chip we just cheat. It's great news. So you're going to set up and hit balls off this. You'll find your foot right up against the bag, which is perfectly fine. And all you want to do is match that shaft as on the bag. And same thing as before. If you're going to clip the bag, clip it post impact or at impact. We don't want to have it dragging on there. All right? Confused enough? Any questions? Got to be something. I don't know. I wasn't even watching how it went in. I don't know. It was a fluke. It was the second one or third one. So, judging distance with chips is very much like putting practice. How hard do I know how to hit that 8-iron to land it here to run up onto the green? I don't know. I just looked and judged that's how hard I'm going to hit it. There's a lot more skill and practice involved with hitting the pitch shot, developing your carry distances, because then you're worried about how far you're flying it. A chip, you're not really worried about how far you're flying it. You can fly a chip 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter. All I would say is with the running shot is probably get good with the amount of golf that you guys play and that you practice, which probably isn't a lot. Nah. I would get very good at playing a running shot with one club, whether it be the 7, 8, 9 pitch. And then also depends on where you play. If you play somewhere that has very fast tournament greens, you want to probably learn to chip with a pitching wedge or even a gap wedge because the ball runs so far. If you play somewhere that's slow and boggy greens,